This video is going to cover the invoicing process that you will be responsible for after September 1st. I hope that you'll find this a little more convenient and straightforward. We think that there'll be less confusion operating this way. After September 1st, you will no longer have to create any records whatsoever. All of the services that you'll be responsible for will already be recorded for you. All of the information concerning the service, other than what you run into out in the field, will be pre-populated there. And you should also have some pretty good tools to help you focus on making sure you're servicing the stores properly according to their tiers. In-tier servicing is going to be extremely important going forward. This is a major focus of the way in which Walgreens revamped their entire invoicing system to make sure that stores are not over-serviced or under-serviced. We have very little flexibility going forward other than to be able to bill the service at the program rate. We cannot add additional items. And most of you should be prepared for this by now. We've been kind of letting you all know that if there was any additional work that needed to be done, they have to open up a C-ticket. C-ticket has to be approved before we go out there. But this video is going to be focused on your basic buff floor care, and we'll kind of go through it step by step on what it's going to look like going forward. So, like everything else, you start from the same link here on your services and invoicing. Go to your invoice tracking, and all of the stores that you're responsible for your buff services will be pre-populated for that month. Now you notice that over here that your vendor month, this is for September, your September services. In this example, there's a couple of additional services that are in there, and some that have been completed from an example standpoint. But each month we will preload your monthly inventory sheet with all the services that you will be responsible for. And under open services, you notice that the close date of the store is there, the phone number, the address, everything that you need, the floor type to be able to get in there, the floor tier. You should have everything that you need at your fingertips. So let me give you a couple of tips real quickly on organizing your work and looking at your work and understanding what your responsibilities are. A number of different times I've said that we're really going to be focused on your tiers, and over the past year we've sent several emails on your over-servicing, your under-servicing, doing chargebacks. There'll be no way to include a ticket that is beyond the service level that is allowed within the store going forward. So we knew this was coming, and we should all be mentally prepared for this. Going forward, as long as you understand what the tiers are of your store, there should not be a problem. So first of all, you notice that there's different types of services that we do. There's carpets and buffs and power washing and that. On here, where you have your open services, there'll be a drop down, and you'll have two options, floor service and non-floor service. If you click on floor service, it will then limit your view to only floor items that are open, and open means you haven't been paid on them yet. If you want to look at things that are not floors, you click on non-floors, and you notice all the floor items disappear. So we're going to focus on floor items. And now we want to look at our stores from a tier standpoint. The tool you have available within this application is grouping. So you want to do is you want to group by store number. So in order to do that, you click on the down arrow next to your store number, click on group, ascending, and you will notice now that your stores, for each store, each of the services available to this store are now grouped together. So store 2129 is a tier 2. It's once a week. There should be 4 services available. One of them has already been done. There are 3 more that need to be done. Here 2545, again, this is an example, but there's one that has been done. there's 3 more that are available. This is so tier 2, tier 3, which is twice a week. You notice that there's the number in parentheses here. There's 9 buff services available to this store during the month. This is a tier 1, 2 services available, and you can tell it hasn't been done because there's no service state and there's no attachments to it. So your sole responsibility going forward for this is to add the service state and add the attachment. Once that's done, you're completed. These will be audited to make sure that, although this is a tier 2 store, that we don't have 4 services in 1 week. It has to be 1 per week. This should be a reflection of the store tiering that you guys have been working on recently. Make sure that that you're updating this list of your store tiers with the day of the week in which you're servicing. You're going to be servicing your stores. Sometimes it'll be off a day, depending upon if there's a truck or not a truck, if there was a strip that week or not a strip that week. But in general, this is what is available to you. If there's wet work that will be done, we'll insert a wax in place of the buff. Those will also be pre-populated for you as well. If you're not doing waxing, then you go and there's wet work being done for this store. There'll be 3, only 3 buff services that you'll see this month that you'll be responsible for. So what are my responsibilities? Again, is adding the service state and the attachment. If you saw the IVR video, if you had your crews gathered tickets using IVR, they could be downloaded on your computer, and your work would be just going through here, editing these tickets, and then you would just go in there, you would select the ticket. Again, I'm not really paying much attention to it. I'm just grabbing something for an example, but let's say this was the ticket that you were adding. Then you just add your service state here, click on update, and that is all you're responsible for doing here. Now you see it pop right up on 2129. So you can see what's available and not. You will be responsible for making sure that these are spaced appropriately, that the ticket which is attached to this record matches. So the service has to match here, the date has to match the ticket, and the store has to match the ticket. Same as before, but these are the only 2 items that you're responsible for going forward. So at the end of the month, every single one of these lines should have a date and should have an attachment to each one. Obviously, the first question folks are going to ask is, what if they want some additional services? As they need them, we'll add them. Sometimes for a tier 2 store, there'll be 5 services during the month. If that's the case, you'll need to let us know, and we'll insert the 5th service for that month. The same thing if it's a tier 1 store and there's 3 that month, we'll add them in. But these will roughly already be populated and take into consideration the additional days during that particular month. If you have any questions, give us a call, or you may need to stop by the office to have us walk you through how this works. But this is the new floor invoicing process, and what your new responsibilities will be as of September 1st.